Okay, so good afternoon. This is Trust Asia podcast, and today our guest is Patrick D'Souza, sir, and he is the founder of Quoin Academy, which is an academy that helps students train in MBA entrance exams like such as CAT, XAT, GMAT, and all the SNAP and all these exams that many aspirants take to achieve their dreams and of doing an MBA in a reputed college. And sir himself has scored 100 percentile in the CAT exam multiple times and has done his MBA from Jamnalal Bajaj, JBIMS, and he also has a graduation in engineering. So you can see sir is very talented and very helpful individual, and therefore we thought that as to have him as our second guest in our podcast series. Sir, should we begin with the questions?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Can.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you tell us a little about your journey and what you enjoy about mentoring, as that has been your profession?
Uh, Mentoring is always enjoyable. First of all, you be with the students, you interact with them, feel young, because when you try to think in their perspectives, so it is a lot of information, a lot of new things that you get to learn from guidance. Mentoring is actually a two-way street. I mean, it's not only you guiding them, but you also learning from them. So a lot of things that I am today is because what I've learned from my students. Yes, from this learning, I can also impart guidance to the students as to what they should do, what they should not. But yes, mentoring students is something which is a delight. I mean, in terms of guiding them, I mean, putting yourself in their perspective, etc. Apart from that, yes, what happens in mentoring also, you need to be one up. I mean, unless you are really very good, it's very difficult to tell them be good or what works, what doesn't work. So that is also a challenge for us. So as a mentor, you need to be ensured that you are good enough to guide them and help them to crack whatever is required. Our focus with regards to mentoring is to try to understand each person's ability and see they can reach their maximum potential. There are different kind of students. There are people who are really good. There are people who may not be extremely good. But we have seen people who not being really good also doing extremely well as far as the exam is concerned. The key is you need to identify what their potential is and accordingly guide them to achieve whatever best is for them.
So, sir, in other words, it is mentoring is not only your profession but also your passion.
Yes. I mean, yes, it's kind of, but it's a delight as you enjoy mentoring. I mean, anyone who has mentored people would realize that yes, it's a good thing that you can mentor people and share whatever knowledge you have.
Yes, sir. So the second question I would like to ask you are what are the common challenges and mistakes that you feel aspirants of CAT exam face? Like over the years, you see this repetition of mistakes and patterns. Any few?
So what has happened? I mean, kind of mistake people used to do earlier is very different from kind of mistake people do today. I mean, we have been there almost 25 years in this particular thing. So recently, what has happened is with social media coming in so much, there is a lot of information available online. And let me tell you, like any other information, most of the information that is available for CAT or the entrance exam are not really relevant or important as far as exam is concerned. I mean, it's more of a clickbait thing. You make videos to just sell it off, but actually what works may not be what is said out there. So the extra information that comes is a problem. So two ways it's a problem. One is the guidance that people provide may not be relevant as far as helping you to crack the exam. So people may say, oh, study for 6, 7 hours a day or study for 8 hours a day, but that doesn't help cracking the exam. What helps is thinking process. Second problem with online platforms or social media is that there's so many people coming out with different ways and different methods. And when you come across a lot of these sources of information, you yourself get confused. When you pick up one from here, you pick up one from here. Normally, what happens is when you follow one particular source, you automatically become good at that particular source because there's a continuity in what you do. But you pick up from one source and you pick up from second source, then there's a confusion that happens. Okay, you say, oh, this is also good, that is also good. You become jack of all trades, but you become master of none. And if you're not master of any particular method, then you become a problem in terms of not able to crack the examination because you're following too many sources. So social media has become a problem of it. Another major problem that has again happened mainly also because of social media is reading. One of the most important part of CAT preparation is reading. You need to read a lot. But because of social media, people have moved to videos and games, etc. The reading habit has gone for a toss. So that when people have lost the reading habit, find it difficult to crack the examination because your whole English is reading, and that's the first section. And the moment you don't do the first section well, the other two sections also suffers. So reading becomes also a problem because of last. You need to be regular. It's not that you have to put many many hours, but you need to be regular. 2 hours every day, 3 hours every day. As long as you put in that 2 3 hours every day, you will be able to do well in the exam. Unfortunately, again, a lot of people are not diligent and they're not able to put in daily time for preparation, which becomes a problem.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I understood exactly what he said. And sir, I would like to ask you, like we you all discuss these problems and challenges. I know that the approach at your academy, which is Quoin Academy, is different from what we see in other ones where like they have huge batch sizes and all of that. Could you please tell us about that difference in the approach that you have been following from so much time, and you would like to let our listeners understand how what things you do differently?
Try to understand what CAT is all about to understand how you go about approaching the system. Now, CAT, if you look at it, a lot of people believe it is mathematics. So the approach of people teaching CAT is they focus on formulas and then they try to solve those formulas and get the answer. I mean, that is how people teach CAT. I mean, school level. You teach a formula, these are the steps to get the answer, and then you get the answer. But that doesn't help in CAT because CAT, if you look at the thinking based exam, almost all the questions that come in the exam is not formula based. It makes you think. You need to understand how you solve it. Steps are not important. What is important is how you can get the answer directly, either eliminating options or putting some values. Doing something or the other, you need to get the answer. The key is in that case, the thinking process becomes extremely important. But unfortunately, in most of the cases, when people learn the formula method, putting the formula, putting the steps, getting the answer, that becomes a habit. And to remove that habit becomes extremely important. What we try to do is, as far as possible, to start, we avoid formulas directly, but try to make people think through the sum. And giving them practice, making them think, that basically helps them to perform better as far as the CAT is concerned. Also, it is not that you have to be really good in maths to crack the examination. The key in cracking the examination is to be able to select the right questions and leave the tough questions. That leaving question becomes extremely important. The ability to leave tough questions in the exam makes or breaks your performance in the examination. So that's what one more skill set that we believe helps in the exam, and that's what we try to inculcate. So we focus on what is required for the CAT and accordingly try to inculcate that, and that helps to crack the exam.
So I would like to just briefly discuss, like, in your opinion, what was the difficulty level of the latest CAT exam, like the CAT 2025? Did you feel it was extremely difficult as compared to the previous years, or is it like something which is in line with the last 2 years in the difficulty level?
The paper was comparatively more difficult than the recent years. Yes, if you look at the CAT paper, I mean, the last was a little easier, so people found this exam a little tougher. Also, there's a reason for why people found it tougher this year. One is because of a couple of reasons. One is because the section of the paper was tough. I mean, it was a lot of reading, little lengthier. There were questions, but you need to read a lot, look at huge reading, and then get the answer. People who are not well read would have found it difficult to solve the paper, the English
Hmm.
section. Also, as I said earlier, that people have lost the reading habit. And because people have lost the reading habit, therefore, again, solving the questions, also reading the whole passage will become very difficult. And therefore, that's what they found it.
Hmm.
Now, because English was the first section, and since people found English difficult, they were automatically disheartened. कि मेरा English section बुरा गया है, now what will I do for the other two sections?
Hmm.
So automatically that put pressure on the other two sections as well, and they were not able. A lot of people are not able to do well because people normally what happen they take whatever mindset is there in one section, take it in the other section. So since the English section did not go well, it definitely affected the DLR and the con section. The DLR section also was tougher. Also, what people do is they compare with last year.
Hmm.
If I compare with last year the English section and the DLR section both were easier than this year
Hmm.
compared to now. So since the paper was tougher and people were not used to it, look, normally the mock papers is based on the last year's paper pattern, the difficult level. And since the mock were comparatively easier, people were not able to adapt to a tougher paper pattern and therefore they found it difficult. So both the verbal and the DLR section were tougher and yes, people suffered because of it.
Okay, okay. And sir, what do you think like should be the mindset of such people whom you feel is have gotten demoralized because of like their paper not going well and now they have to give some other exams like for like MSTCT remaining. So what do you think? How should they like get themselves back on track and get demotivated if the exam didn't go well, the CAT one?
What happens is what I've seen. I mean, even if a person doesn't do well in one exam, he may do well in the other exams. I mean, I've seen people doing miserably in CAT, but managed to get into XLRI because they did well in SAT, or managed to get into SIBM Pune because they did well in SNAP. So one exam should not dishearten a person. Always believe that there are other exams which are there which you can go over. I remember there was a time when a student had come to me after the CAT. He hardly verbal section he got 2% or something like that in CAT, and he was disheartened completely. And but in symbiosis, SNAP he scored a 99.5%. We got into SIBM. I mean, so I've seen people that way. There was one more student who in both captains had got below 85 percentile. So she had got a profile based call from SPGMR, but she could not go for an interview because it was below the cutoffs.
Hmm.
But in CT, she got a top ninth rank All India, and she was able to get to Bajaj. So, there is always that. I mean, as long as you are really putting the effort and keep on doing well, you will get in. So, you should not get bogged down by one exam. Learn from it, see where you did wrong, and try to go about for the next exam. So, every exam is different. The strategy required for every exam is a little different from the others. So, if you know the right strategy or right approach to follow, you should be able to do well.
So like one more thing, like some aspirants of CAT have asked me that, sir, do you think like preparing, like if they like suppose they learn the CAT coaching from our institute, do you think that one thing is enough for clearing other exams like XAT, SNAP, and CET, like as far as the preparation is concerned? And also they ask about GMAT exam because some people are interested in abroad as well. What is your thought process on those?
Every exam has little difference. For example, SAT has decision making section. The whole section of decision making is different. So you have to prepare for decision making. Also, SAT has critical reasoning, which is different from which doesn't come in the CAT. So that you have to prepare for decision making. You have to prepare for critical reasoning, which is different. So CAT preparation will not help you for that. You have to prepare separately. Same way, if you get INMAT logic section is comparatively different from CAT. Even the verbal section, they're more grammar based, and also the logic is more individual question based, whereas in CAT is a group question based. So again, very different way of approach. So preparing for CAT will build a base for all exams definitely, but you have to just for each exam separately. You have to write a few mocks, understand the paper pattern, find out which questions you find difficult, and accordingly prepare for those questions.
Yes, sir. So one question associated with mock exam was that how should a student take their mock scores? How seriously should they take it? Should they take it like as a stepping stone, or should they take it like if they're not performing well, should they take it as a wake up call, or should they just take it go with the flow?
And I'm more on mainly for strategy building. I mean, don't get bogged down by low mock scores. That doesn't determine, what you will perform in the end. I have known students who have not even scored above 70% in any of the mocks, but went for the exam and scored 95 plus percentile. A CAT, the actual exam performance could be very different from what your mocks are. Your
Hmm.
mocks should be to help you understand what to prepare. So when you analyze a mock, you need to know first of all strategy, how to leave a question, how to solve a question, how many rounds that you're going to solve, all that stuff. And secondly, from the CAT, you should be able to make out that which areas you should focus on in preparation, which areas you should not focus on. For example, you find, oh, your RC accuracy is very, very low. So you should go back and check why is it low, and then maybe focus more on preparing for RC. Or you feel there is a specific area in either TR or not, you need extra practice. So you should spend that extra time on practicing those, and that will get a hint from the box.
Hmm. Sir, like you have been seeing students from both the offline classroom batches and the online sessions that were taken, like for the classes and all that. So, which students tend to perform better? Like, if a student is confused or has a dilemma between to choose go for the classroom based classes that you take or the online, which do you think is better for them? Like, as far as the performance you have seen with these students, like with the two different respective batches, whom do you think are performing better in general in these examinations?
I do take both online and the classroom sessions as such. We have an online batch, we have a classroom batch. Content for both is same. What I've seen is there's no major difference in performance. The only problem is in the online batch, people drop out a little bit faster than the classroom batch. Technically, in my case, there are not less dropouts. I normally get serious students. But normally, what happens is, at least in the classroom, you can track the students and see how the progress is.
Hmm.
Online is more of self motivation. So if you're self motivated and you feel I can study on my own without any help and go about it, then either classroom or online both are sufficient. But if you feel that you're not self motivated, you need external motivation, you want person to track, to help you, guide you as such, then the classroom session would be a better option. So that means you need to look at for people who can maybe monitor and guide you on a regular basis. Because that guidance becomes extremely important as far as class. Classes is not about teaching only. Classes are about also guiding you as to what to prepare and what will help you with regards to the examination.
So, like for an CAT aspirant, what do you think is the ideal time before their target exam? Like, suppose there's a student who wants to give CAT 2027. When do you think he should start preparing? Or like 2026, like the later that will come in November. So, when do you think is the right time that a student should, like, buckle up their seat belts and get really serious about their prep?
If a student is studying in college, etc., or is caught up with some things, then maybe preparing around 1 to 1.5 years before the examination becomes more ideal. So that means for CAT 2026, you can start right now, which is a good thing. For CAT 2027, you may start somewhere in the month of June, July, or you may start somewhere in the month of December, January, anything, depending on the time available, depending on different factors, around 1 month. If you have more time to prepare, it means you're at home preparing full time, or if you feel you have more time to prepare, then even 6 months is sufficient to prepare for the exam. So 6 months before the exam, if you can start and you can devote enough time, like 4 to 5 hours per day, then you can complete the whole syllabus and prepare for the exam in 5 to 6 months. We have seen students preparing also in 4 months' time doing well in the examination, so that's not a problem. But depends on how much time you can provide for preparation. You obviously cannot give 8, 10 hours. That doesn't help because that much preparation is not required. But if you can give regular 4, 5 hours per day, sufficient. If you're giving for 1 year, then even 2 hours, 2.5 hours is sufficient for preparation per day.
Okay, sir. Sir, I want to ask you that, sir, I'm aware of the fact that you play chess very well as well, and you had some ranking in chess as well. And sir, I also know that you solve Sudoku puzzles and all of these things. So, sir, do you feel that these things, like these interests of yours, should we think students should also engage in such things? And do you think that they help in developing your brain power and as well as strategy or any solving puzzles and all that? Do they help you in general brain development that also helps you in competitive exams like CAT?
Normally, CAT preparation and normally recommend students to solve one puzzle every day, any puzzle, Sudoku or Minesweeper or Kapuro. It makes you think, CAT thinking based examination. And to make you think, puzzles are a good way of trying to make you think. So one puzzle every day will help you with regards to preparing for the examination as far as well. About chess and all is concerned, I think you should also have a hobby side by side apart from preparing because sometimes what when preparation becomes saturated. I mean, you study, 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 you get saturated. You need a outing. So any one hobby, it could be cooking, it could be music, it could be anything as such, helps for your mind to be relaxed. Especially when you come closer to the examination, when you get too stressed regarding the mocks, etc. A hobby or something will help you to, you know, keep your mind calm and prepare for the exam properly. So yes, all these extra activities do help in the examination. If you can keep your calm and do well, that helps. So maybe solve puzzles, yes, definitely. And also have one hobby which is something which will help you relax.
Yes, sir. So I had one important question was that there are some students like who unfortunately are like repeaters of the CAT exam. Like they have given exam for like 2 or 3 years, consecutively, and they haven't performed up to the mark to what their expectations would be, or they have not got the marks that they would want to get into the college that they would their dream college basically. So what do you think should be a time when they should like consider taking a college which is coming in their percentile, and when should they make the decision that okay, I have given these many years to this exam, now I want to go to the next stage and this is the right time to transition or to adjust my goal accordingly?
Depends on the individual to individual. Normally, what I'm going to say is people who have extremely good job at hand, you have extremely good job at hand, you can wait. I had a student who gave CAT 6 times and he got to Ahmedabad in his sixth attempt. He had extremely good job at it. So he converted other colleges like IIM Lucknow, XLR, and all he converted. But he wanted to only go to IIM ABC. In a sixth second, he managed to get to IIM Ahmedabad. I have so many other students like that. So I have at least in the last 4, 5 years, I have at least 4, 5 students like that who managed to get into a good college, like XLRI or maybe Andhra or some other college, FMS, etc. But they didn't take it up. They said,
Hmm.
we'll give one more year for ABC, but anyway, we have a good job at hand. So
Hmm.
we don't mind waiting. And they got into IIM ABC after 34, whatever, after second attempt, third attempt, someone has it.
Hmm.
Right. Now, whether to wait or not will depend upon. So if you're just in the final year or you just passed out and you feel you can get a better college, then wait. There's no harm in that. But if you already have a couple of years gap, 2 or 3 years gap, then it makes sense to, I mean, not either take up a job or take up a college. No point of keeping a huge gap in between. Though
Hmm.
I know that a lot of people who get into colleges with gap, but there's no point of keeping a huge gap in between doesn't help, right? Uh, Going on that, there's one more option saying that you keep on giving CAT till you get a good college, assuming you have a job at hand. And later on, you can also try for the executive MBA program. There are 1 year MBA programs from the top colleges which you can get, where also the placements are good if you get a good college. You can try for that as well. So also individual preference. Why are you doing an MBA? If a college you're getting admission, for example, I'm just giving an example. Say I'm Ahmedabad, I'm Lucknow. I've got admission to IIM Lucknow. Should I wait for IIM Ahmedabad? But if I'm trying to do marketing, all the marketing companies that come to IIM Ahmedabad also come to IIM Lucknow. So why should I wait for 1 more year? I
Hmm.
can get a good job from IIM Lucknow as well. I need not wait for 1 more year. So all that factors plays an important role. Most important point is, do I have a good job at hand? If I have, wait. If not, then you can take a
So I just want to know that if any student is watching this podcast and he wants to like join your academy, so what is the right way or the way they can approach you or know more about you, what you know what you do, and they can take admission in your classes.
they can directly contact me. I'm always approachable for my students, so they can always contact me or the office, or you can go to website patrick100.com, prep.patrick100.com. You can visit that website, or you can contact my number. My number is 7715846600. You can contact me, and we can go.
We'll be putting your the website on in the description as well. And so I would like to just ask a final advice, and before we close that, what is your final message through this video that you would like to send to aspirants? Any closing remark that you would like to give?
Uh, what is important in your career option is see what you enjoy doing and what you want to do, and accordingly pursue. Don't just pursue because others are doing it, because then you will get demotivated over a period of time. Do what you enjoy doing and continue. Once you decide, then be regular, plan your preparation and go ahead. Don't get bogged down because of low scores or low. I've seen people who have joined, who then gave up preparation 2, 3 times, saying that I'm not getting scores, I'm not able to understand. But they came back and they managed to get into a good college. The
Hmm.
key is not giving up your preparation. You may find it difficult, but as long as you can continue that preparation on a regular basis, it will help you crack the examination. So don't give up and go ahead with it.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for being our guest and for answering all our questions so brilliantly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Hello. Thanks. Yeah. Pleasure being in this session.